Hello, Stats fans, and welcome to another issue of Go Figure with me, Andy Zaltzman, here in a very rainy London and in I assume, less rainy Bangalore. It's Cricinfo, Sultan of Stats, the Nebuchadnezzar of numbers. It's S Rajesh.
Hi Andy, it's definitely
Hello.
less rainy. It's nice and bright and sunny here.
Right, it is none of those things here in London. It's neither nice nor bright nor sunny in both weather terms or news terms. But cricket once again provides the escape from the harsh realities of reality, and numbers provide an even greater escape from even the realities of cricket. Now, what number have you got for us to go figure this week, Rajesh?
Well, Andy, the number for the week is 215, and it's not because we are recording this show at 2:15 in the afternoon India time, which we're pretty close to. But it's because there are a few Australian spinners who insist on conceding 215 runs whenever they come to India.
That's not a great habit for a spinner to get into.
It's a great habit if you're an Indian.
Can you take us through the list of spinners who have conceded 215 for Australia?
It's only two, but it's
All
two
right.
more than what any other bowler has conceded anywhere ever. Because it's Jason Krejza who conceded 215, but at least he took 8 wickets for his efforts. But more recently, we had Nathan Lyon in Chennai, 215 again, and only 3 wickets for his efforts. So, in fact, these are the only 2 occasions when a bowler has conceded exactly 215 runs in a test innings. And it's the most number of runs conceded by any bowler in a particular test innings in a match between Australia and India. So there you go.
Well, I mean, that's a definite stat there. It's also the 17th equal most runs conceded in any test innings. And here's a coincidence coming up for you, numbers fans. It's behind Chuck Fleetwood Smith's immortal 1 for 298 at the Oval in 1938 when England scored 903 for 7. And whilst he was bowling, Len Hutton and Joe Harstaff Jr. put on 215 for England's 6th wicket. So that ties us in with history in this
what
week.
the score was when they came into bat? It wasn't 215.
No, it was not.
It was 555 for 5. Can you imagine, as a fielding team, 555 for 5, a pair coming in and getting 215?
That's not what you want strategically. I mean, we see we've had a bigger score than that. When Sri Lanka played India, I think it was 952. I'm sure Captain Stats, you'll put me right on that if it's not wrong. But the timeless test, that is asking for a team to score 900 runs. Interestingly, in that innings, Australia didn't exactly try to slow things down, hoping for the outbreak of war to stop proceedings. They bowled their overs at 22 per hour, which on today's standards, by my reckoning, would lead to the ICC match referee fining them minus 215% of their match fee. So in fact, this could be a way of players earning more money by bowling their overs so fast they get negative fines. In fact, if we introduce this scheme, we'll soon have bowlers the world over walking back to their marks like Benny Hill chasing a scantily clad lovely. 215, also the number of runs scored by Sachin Tendulkar in his first ever test series against Pakistan in 1989-90, I believe he was, and correct me again if I'm wrong, 6 years old, facing Wasim, Imran, Waqar and Abdul Qadir. So
5.5 years, actually.
Oh, 5, my mistake. Here's another stat for you, Rajesh, about Lyon's 215 runs conceded in 47 overs. He only bowled 1 maiden in that time, and that is the fewest. That is the most overs bowled by anyone who's only bowled 1 maiden in a test innings, beating Harbhajan Singh's 46 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 166 against South Africa 3 years ago.
Lyon is marginally more generous than Harbhajan is.
But only 3 months ago, he bowled 31 maidens in a single innings against South Africa as they stodged out for a draw, which is the most maidens in an innings for over 30 years. So make your mind up, Lyon. What kind of bowler are you?
You take the good with the bad. There are 3 batsmen who've scored exactly 215 runs in a test innings. A couple of them really elegant players. I'm talking about Justin Langer and Zahir Abbas. And there's another player who wasn't quite as elegant, but he belongs to your country. I'm sure you'd know the name.
Well, I remember this innings well. It was David Gower, that most ugly and angular and awkward of batsmen. Yeah, I think you might be the first person ever to claim that Justin Langer is a more elegant batsman than David Gower. I'm not sure even Justin Langer or his closest family would claim that.
I loved his batting. And do you know that in that match in which he got 215, do you know the margin by which Australia won the test match? It was actually against New Zealand.
No. Was it 200?
It was almost 215. It was 213 runs. And do you know why they didn't win by 215 runs?
I don't.
Because your close friend Chris Martin, he scored 2 runs. Not in one of the innings, but in both innings. He was actually unbeaten on 2 in the first innings. And given that his average is 2, he should have got out for a duck in the second innings. He went ahead and he scored 2 in the second innings as well. And the margin of victory instead of 215 was 213 runs. So next time you have a beer with Martin, please ask him why he did this. Why he scored 4 runs in the entire test match.
you can't legislate for that statistically.
Only 10 times in 71 tests has he scored more than 4 runs in a test match. He couldn't have done this on such a momentous occasion as that.
Interestingly, Australia have just lost this test with India this morning as we record. And that's the first time in 9 innings in which they've had a bowler bowl 45 overs or more that they've actually lost the test. And the last time Australia lost a test match in which they'd have a bowler bowling 45 overs or more was Colin Funky Miller. Any guesses against whom and where? Yeah, it was Chennai against, any guesses? Actually, you probably narrowed it down because I said it's Chennai, against India in that famous 2000-2001 series. So, I mean, it does, once again, I think we're going to get this as a recurring theme in these videocasts stroke HD movies. It's a sign of the apocalypse. And I'm sorry to break that news to you, cricket fans.
Well, yeah, for the second time, but we've survived so long.
Any other 215s for us?
I was just going through the list of teams who have been bowled out for 215. Out of 22 times when they've actually been bowled out for 215, there's just one instance of a team which is won. I'm sure you would know which one it is, but just pretend you don't.
Okay, all right, I'll pretend that.
Okay, that's a good pretense. It was actually that team Pakistan, which is capable of winning with any score and losing with any score. They actually scored 215 and they beat New Zealand, which is their favorite whipping boy again. This was in Auckland when they actually conceded a lead and then ultimately won by 5 wickets. But you see, once in 22, so 215 clearly not a good enough score in tests. But if you look at T20s, both T20 internationals and IPLs and every T20 match, there have been 9 instances when teams have scored 215. And guess what? Each time they won the match. So that's the biggest way you can explain how T20 is different from Test cricket.
Well, yeah, I guess if you scored 215 in a T20 match, then that's quite a good score. So, whereas in a Test match, not such a good score.
I should come up with my question of the episode.
Okay.
What's the most number of wickets taken by a bowler who's bowled exactly 215 deliveries in a Test innings? Who's the bowler and against whom?
Well,
again, I'm sure you know the answer, but
it's not one of the pieces of information that I have right at my mental fingertips. I'm guessing it wasn't Ian Salisbury taking 9 for 48. So I'm going to have to pass on that one, Rajesh.
It's again the two teams that we've been talking about. It's India and Australia, but unfortunately, it's not an Australian spinner versus India. It's an Indian spinner against Australia, and it's an off spinner. He's called Jasu Patel, and he took 9 for 69 in 1959 at Kanpur, bowling exactly 215 deliveries. How Nathan Lyon would have wished that he would have had figures like these.
Yep, that would definitely have been better than 3 for 215. Time for us to sign off now, and I've got to go and take my kids to school. So from another Go Figure, until next time, cricket fans, goodbye from S Rajesh and me, Andy Zaltzman.
Goodbye.